All right, the fear of the unknown. The fear of the unknown, how to deal with uncertainty and the fear of all things unknown. That is what we're going to talk about today. But, first, please send me your validation so that I can inhale it into my nostrils and down to the depths of my soul. Send said validation by subscribing to the YouTube channel. Hit the little notification bell so that you can get brand new videos the moment that they come out. All of the platforms, please like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends so that you can learn how to deal with uncertain times and thrive in the midst of chaos. And that's what we're going to talk about today. If you noticed my bit of a disheveled appearance, I don't have a perfect haircut and my facial hair is kind of all out of the place. I've been sitting in the house for the past couple of days because I'm on quarantine during the coronavirus. This is going to be a video that will be shown, over time. YouTube's going to promote this algorithm over time. It's going to promote this video over time. So this video will be seen years into the future. And I hope, both for those that are watching this right now and for those who see this in the future and you look back like, oh yeah, I remember when that whole Corona deal went down. I hope the message rings true for you in either scenario. And the one thing I want to tell you about dealing with uncertainty and dealing with the fear of the unknown is to always be adaptable and prepare for these types of situations in the first place. Now, I don't mean prepare for some crazy pandemic that no one could have foreseen coming, but instead live your life in a way where you can deal with the fear of the unknown and deal with the uncertainty of the future. For example, this economic crisis that's going to be caused is going to impact a lot of lives. It'll surely probably impact my life too. But I've prepared in such a way that even at this moment, when there's a very uncertain future, I'm looking for the next move. Because of my self-improvement training that I've spent the past half decade, focusing on, I'm always looking for opportunities, even when things are going south. And because I have built an adaptable lifestyle, because I have built what seemingly looks risky on the surface, being a content creator, being an entrepreneur, being someone who's constantly on their toes, who has fluctuating income, which teaches me to live below my means and prepare for a rainy day, who has fluctuating sources of income and audience that helps me always refine. I'm always looking to get better. I know that in my profession, there is no status quo, so I have to keep my eye on the ball at all times. Living this way and living in a way where I don't have the illusion of safety that comes with employment, I'm much more adaptable than the normal human being. And, a lot of people, they cope with dealing with uncertainty by putting themselves in truly risky positions. It's counterintuitive. People deal with uncertainty by putting themselves in risky situations. The number one example of this is having a job. How many people, unfortunately, sadly, I wish it would not be happening this way right now, once thought that they had a safe and stable job, that because of the ripple effects of this crisis are going to go away completely. Service workers, hotel staff, who knows? Who knows what the further reaching impact? I've already watched on the news that there's just unemployment everywhere from people who, up until this moment, maybe for years and decades of their life, had stability. But me, as someone who is in a constantly unstable position, I'm more stable. So one way to deal with the fear of the unknown is to understand that there is no inherently safe position ever. That's the attitude that you have to take with risk. People are so afraid of uncertainty when your life is a bucket of uncertainties. Whether or not you will make it to the end of this day is uncertain. Whether you'll make it through this hour is uncertain. Whether or not you'll suffer from a severe and debilitating injury that could shift your ability to work is uncertain. Whether or not your relationships will stay together or crumble in an instant is uncertain. I was married a year ago perfect, stable family man until things went rocky in that department and I found myself having to start over. And fortunately, kind of the tools of self-improvement helped me be able to do that probably quicker than most people would. So getting into this area where I'm constantly telling you guys to do things like start a side hustle, even a creative hobby, even if it doesn't make a ton of money, just something for fun to begin experimenting, thinking of alternative sources of income, not looking at life through the most narrow lens possible, which is this societally programmed lens where you're just told you just do everything right, Jane, do everything right, Johnny, go to school, get good grades, get into a bunch of debt, go to college, get your nice little job, cushy job, everything will be fine. And I'm not saying that that's not an okay route to go, but what I'm saying is to understand that there are always trade-offs, vulnerabilities, susceptibilities, regardless of where you're coming from. So, the overall philosophy is to understand that being afraid of the unknown, having a fear of the unknown and having a fear of uncertainty is kind of dumb. We logically know that it's dumb, but again, your cave person brain seeks that certainty. Your cave person brain seeks to move away from pain and towards pleasure. So you're just creating all of these rationalizations in your mind to help you think you live in a safer world than you do. The world is inherently unsafe and fraught with risk. So the way that I look at it, if the world is inherently fraught with risk, I might as well take the risk that gives me the chance at the most upside. Yeah, it's risky. Starting an online business, putting out YouTube videos, putting in money to putting in books and products and courses and time and resources, it's risky. Yeah, I could lose the time, money, and resources I put in, but then it could also take off and skyrocket. And in many ways it has, and in many ways it can, and in many ways you can make it relatively predictable, granted that you do a long enough period of work. So you can decide whether or not you're going to deal with uncertainty in a way that could lead to a much better lifestyle that you have right now, or you could deal with uncertainty by always being afraid, which being afraid of uncertainty and not preparing for it makes you weak. So when those situations come, you're thrown way off. You have no adaptability muscles and resiliency muscles, so it's very hard to just pick yourself up and start looking for opportunities. And what's going on right now is the perfect example. I'm seeing a lot of things online where, well-intentioned people, I probably even tweeted stuff along this lines. Actually, I did, where we were like, now is the time to go and start your business. Now that you have all this free time, you're locked at home, quarantined, now is the time to start your business. But when people have had so much inertia set in where they haven't been doing it for years, where they've fallen under the illusion of security for years, where they haven't been practicing adaptability and this kind of anti-fragile lifestyle that I promote for years, it's a lot to all of a sudden ask somebody who has been working at a certain job for 5 years, all of a sudden they're out of their job, they're so used to their routine, to tell them to snap out of it and just all of a sudden start a business from the ground up. So that's why I try to prepare people for these situations before they happen. I talked about this in my book, which would be a great start for you to start learning how to deal with uncertainty. I talked about the fact that job security is a myth. Basically all forms of security are a myth, right? Everyone's looking for safety and security where it doesn't exist. And I get it. The feelings of unpredictability, of uncertainty, is very tough to deal with. And the thing about it is, like, you're not really afraid of anything specific. You're just afraid of not knowing what's going to happen. You're just afraid of not knowing what's going to happen. And ultimately what you're afraid of is kind of the blow to your ego that you'll experience if you try to do everything right and you do everything right, but you still fail anyway. That's the thing we're afraid of most. All these resources available to help you, create these alternative paths to life, they're all viable. I've seen people successfully pull this off in a variety of different ways, more ways than I could definitely share in a video. It's definitely doable for you, but you're like, what if I fail? What if I waste time? What if it doesn't work? When, ironically, you're wasting time by not going and trying to do the thing. So no, I get it. It's a very tough time right now. And for me, even in the beginning, I was thrown off by what happened. All of a sudden, my entire life routine was thrown out of whack. And even though I am a quote unquote laptop entrepreneur, I still like to go out and, I was working in coffee shops and I like to go out and do things and have fun. And I liked the freedom of being able to work from home, but be able to do also whatever I wanted when I wanted. So now, in many ways, kind of that freedom that I've built up for myself, I'm restricted a little bit, basically by law. They have us, shut down for the most part. And, I was shell-shocked by it a little bit. So at first, it was just cycling through my mind, learning how to deal with all this. But then after a few days after it wore off, I'm like, okay, now it's time to focus on what you can do. There's this quote, I'm going to butcher it a little bit, but there's this quote from Marcus Aurelius, and when he says, when you're jarred unavoidably by circumstances, return back to your mind and return back to your reactions so that you are able to make the next move. So that's the kind of learning that you have to do, to where my learning curve for being able to get back and to start focusing on opportunities is much shorter because I've been adaptable. To where someone who has been in a quote unquote safe position, they're thrown off balance. They're going to stay off balance throughout this entire thing. They're not going to come out of it on the other side wealthier, healthier, more mentally tough. This is going to set people's lives back quite a bit. And it's not necessarily through any fault of their own, except that this is why I tell people to start preparing. This is why I call self-improvement the cheat code to life. I'll link to that video here. Self-improvement is the cheat code to life because it teaches you modes of being and ways of thinking that are just uncommon. And that's how you get uncommon results. Most people don't think this way. They have the equation backwards. They see risk where there's actually less risk because you're learning to be adaptable and hyper aware and have the ability to change on the fly, to where they think their situation is stable when it's inherently risky. So you have to learn to flip that equation. And if you do, what you'll come to understand is you'll kind of learn how to find comfort in your own discomfort. Like being comfortable, being sedentary, being still is kind of a weird position for you to be in. Being still right now is a weird position for me to be in. Usually I'm just everywhere looking for the next opportunity, but even now that I'm confined right here, I'm still doing that in many ways. And I'm just looking, what's to come. I'm always preparing for what's possible. That's why I did things like starting a brand new YouTube channel. People were like, Io, the writing's going so well. Why would you start over with a YouTube channel that makes no money? Because I'm hedging. I'm creating a new vehicle for income, a new vehicle to promote, a new platform to be on. Platforms come and go. Income streams come and go. Opportunities come and go. Jobs come and go. Crisis, they come and go. But what you need is to develop the skills to where you're always building these little mental models and platforms and investments so that when one thing goes down, the next one goes up, right? So there were aspects of my business and my life that are now shut off. Like I was doing some public speaking stuff. That's completely turned off right now because I can't go in public to speak. So I'm taking that time and I'm shooting videos double time. I just started another YouTube channel, a YouTube channel that teaches blogging advice and learning how to make money online. So if you want to check out the first video of that, you can find that one here as well. So now I'm doubling down. I'm probably going to write an entire book. If this lockdown lasts multiple months, I will write a book in that time. I'll shoot videos in that time. I'm working on new products in that time. All of these things which I may not have done given my normal routine. But see, I've trained myself. I need to find opportunity amongst the chaos. I need to focus on the upside amongst the chaos. So regardless of what happens, I'm going to come out of this even better than I was before, having even more resources than I was before. And, if you're watching this during the crisis, as psychologically difficult as it may be, I would encourage you to start looking into these means and methods of, the side projects, the online businesses, the content creation, or anything that comes to mind which can help you hedge in the future. And if you're watching this video and you're looking back, and this video is 2 years old, or it's past when the crisis has happened, ask yourself how much you've already lulled into complacency. This reminds me of, wow, 2020 has been a crazy year, but this reminds me of the Kobe situation. After Kobe died, everyone that whole week, everyone was calling their families, everyone was calling their friends, telling them how much they loved them, telling them how much life is short, starting all these new goals. Life is short. I'm going to do this, this, and that. And those feelings faded in about a couple weeks. Everyone got back to normal in a couple weeks. After this pandemic is over, everyone's going to get back to normal in a couple weeks. They'll settle back into their grooves. They won't start the new businesses. They won't realize the importance and sanctity of their relationships. The feeling will last for a while. There will be a little bit of a renaissance post-COVID-19, but it won't last that long, because people are creatures of comfort and familiarity first and foremost. And you have to understand that if you want to be successful, you're going to have to go against your nature. You're going to have to adopt a mentality that is unnatural to you. You're going to have to adopt a mentality that you never want to be comfortable, regardless of how successful you become, regardless of how much money you make, regardless of how many dreams you pull off. You're always going to keep looking for the next thing. A, because building is just fun. B, you don't know what you don't know, and you don't know what you need until you need it. So this is why accumulating knowledge, resources, skills, platforms, audience, all these things are important, because you never know when they're going to come in handy. So stop fearing the unknown. Stop fearing uncertainty, and start fearing your ability to prepare. You should be afraid of your lack of ability to prepare for the unknown, not for the unknown itself. You should be afraid of your ability to prepare for uncertainty, not the uncertainty itself, because those are variables that are outside of your control. And as a self-help cliche goes, you can only focus on the things you can control and move from that perspective. And if you're able to master that simple cliche and embrace it and apply it to your life, well, you will be able to deal with almost anything. Okay, Real Help is the book. Scroll down in the description and check out that book. It's in audio for those auditory learners who don't want to read. Grab the format of your choice. If you are on the YouTube channel, please subscribe. Please hit the notification bell. That notification bell is very important because you get brand new videos. Watch a new video as it pops up across the screen. Check out the links below. Check out the playlist. Check out everything. I will see you on the next video.